Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, your host of Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you guys so much for all the comments. Thank you for all the emails. And I am so honored. Thank you so much for being here on this channel. For all the new subscribers, thank you for joining me and finding something valuable that I have to say concerning your recovery, concerning, your healing and your learning process of, coming out of these situations, or recognizing narcissists, or recognizing that you are in a narcissistic relationship. And thank you guys so much for the comments. Thank you for all the accolades. I do this because I really have a passion to help you guys. I always say, I'm a veteran, I'm an old soldier, I'm a senior leader, and what I did in the military is the same thing that I do now that I'm out of the military. I still lead and train soldiers. You guys are soldiers, and you guys have been wounded on the battlefield, and I look at it as I'm going back to the battlefield, that I came off of, to go back and get as many people as I can, to retrain them, to rejuvenate them, and to restore you, to get you out there and get you fighting again. That doesn't mean I'm trying to push you head forward into a relationship or into a battle with a narcissist. No, we're going to teach you how to stay away from these individuals that have been so insidious and have caused so much pain, inflicted so much pain, hurt, and division in your families, in your mind. And I wanted to address one of the ladies that did ask me a question in reference to narcissists and animals. Hopefully she doesn't mind, because TMG did write it on the YouTube channel, and when we went live, she did talk about it at one point in time. TMG is one of my moderators, and one of the things that she said is that she was with a low-grade narcissist, and she had a dog, and she loved that dog. And if you go back and listen to the videos that I did, is when they come after, I can't recall the title, but when they come after those things that you value the most, they attack the things that you value the most. Go and listen to that. That'll give you an understanding of in reference to animals. You said that he killed your fish when you decided to discard, and he would never allow you and your son to have a dog. Well, number one, sad to say, sounds so pitiful, but that means that dog gets your love and attention. That means the love and attention, that the fuel that he would have gotten from you guys, you are giving it to a dog, and that dog is gonna love that attention, love that, the love that you give that animal. And he did not want you guys to focus that love and attention to that animal. He wanted all that. He would have been jealous over a dog. To kill your fish, that means that he, anything that you value, you value those fish. And I'm not saying that they're the most valuable thing in the world. Now you're going to have a funeral for the animals, but you have some value for those fish. They were beautiful. They brought you joy. They brought you happiness. Anything that brings you joy and happiness, they'll try to destroy. And TMG did share her story where she had a dog. She really loved that dog. Well, he was abusing the dog, and he was abusing her. And he abused that dog brutally and then killed the dog. Well, he desensitized her in a way, and I shared this with her when we were live one time. He desensitized her, because in her mind she didn't think that he would do that anyway, but it was almost like he was grooming her, but he was practicing, because every time he abused the dog, he was abusing her, and when he killed that dog, he was preparing to kill her. And so thank God she got out of the situation, but she valued that dog, and because she valued that dog, she cared for that dog and paid a lot of money for that dog. He made sure that he destroyed that dog because it was something valuable to her. And so they'll destroy anything that you find value: your car, your home, your fish, your animals, especially animals. And so thank God you never got a dog, because there's a possibility he would have even killed that dog to hurt, to inflict the utmost or the most pain possible for you and your son. That would have traumatized your son. And depending on how he did it, whether he left the dog there or he made sure you knew, but he would have tried to inflict the maximum amount of pain, because he would have got a maximum amount of fuel out of you through your emotions, through your reactions. And so hopefully that answers your question, in reference to that. I didn't make a long video on that. I just wanted to include that. But today I wanted to come in. I wanted to talk about, when you take upon the characteristics of the narcissist. And I'm speaking to those that are empaths. Now, believe it or not, everybody that gets involved with a narcissist or has been involved with a narcissist is actually not an empath. Everybody's not an empath. I'm not an empath. And so everybody is not an empath. So everyone that got involved or has been involved with a narcissist, and I don't want you guys to categorize yourselves, because because not everybody is an empath. And so going in to help you understand, sometimes you do take the characteristics of just like the narcissist mirrors you, you end up mirroring them. For some people, you do it unconsciously because you have been trained and groomed to do that. Anytime a narcissist enters into your life, remember they're trauma bonding. They're love bombing you, and then they're trauma bonding you. They are grooming you and teaching you how to act in the relationship. When they want something, and in your mind as a woman or a man, you kind of look at it as the role you play within the relationship. This is what I do and this is how I give. But that narcissist already has their mindset that they're training you on how that you will conduct yourself and what you will give me in the relationship. So you are being groomed, how to respond, what to do, whether to wait by the telephone until I call you. Don't you do anything until I call you, or don't you talk about this. When you get into public, don't you do this, don't you do this. I can do that, but don't you do this. And so, but they train you, they groom you. And so what ends up happening is, for normalcy, a lot of times, and even in domestic violence, well, it is a domestic violent relationship, and some domestic violence, domestic violent relationship, they're not all people that have narcissistic personality disorder. Some do not have narcissistic personality disorder. They have other issues, but not NPD, not a personality disorder like that. So, in general, when you are in a domestic violent relationship, many victims or survivors have learned to survive by learning how to manipulate to get their needs met. And so a lot of times, and I said this in another video, sometimes, in that cycle of abuse, you've got the love bombing or the honeymoon phase, the tension building, and then the explosion, the build up, the explosion, and then back to the honeymoon phase. So it's this cycle. And there's some people, men and women alike, some people, want to get beyond, it's the honeymoon, it's the tension building or the honeymoon tension. And the honeymoon phase is usually when you get what you want. When you get your needs met, when they're trying to make up to you, when they're apologetic, but that honeymoon season only lasts for a little while. So sometimes what ends up happening is you trigger the blow up because you're trying to hurry up and get beyond this tension building phase or beyond the end of the honeymoon phase in order to finally get back to that, the apologies, the honeymoon, in order to get your needs met. And so what happens is a lot of times when you get out of these relationships, you don't realize it. And I've read comments and I've been on my mentors page and I look at like how you interact or some of the things that you say, even in live sessions with me. I look, and that's why some people have gotten blocked, because they're accustomed to manipulating. They try to manipulate, but this is what you've learned to do, and sometimes it's unconscious. But there are people that try to manipulate using their emotions. Well, you say that you wanted to help me, and you're supposed to be a woman that's helping, and you're saying you're helping. So why won't you call me? Why won't you pick up the phone? Why won't you answer my calls? And I think some of you guys witnessed it. I do have a caseload. And so in order to work with me, you have to be a part of my caseload. That's why I do the free YouTube videos. You guys get a lot, these videos themselves, if I were to do this as classes, I can get paid to do what I'm doing as classes. That's why I'm going to come up with webinars with the next book that's coming out, not this book, but the next book that's coming out, and I'm going to do webinars around that book. But this right here, the information that you guys get right here, if you look at a lot of the coaches, they give you like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You guys get almost like 20, 30 minutes. And so I charge, for hour sessions when people come to see me in the first place, because, and that's what I'm saying is that you have to respect the professionals that you're working with, and then as the subscriber list grows bigger and bigger, it's harder to interact with everyone because there's so many people that are sending emails back to back. And so, and my phone rings all the time. And so, I'm explaining that because, to respect the professionals, a lot of you say that I can email these professionals, but they never email me back. Probably because their subscriber base is so huge that they get so many emails that, it gets to a point where if you look at the email, it's like hundreds of millions of emails in there. You can't even answer that many emails. Even the comments on there, sometimes it'll get to a point where you'll miss people's comments, because there's so many people. And so what an empath or a survivor has learned, being in a domestic violent relationship or being in a relationship with a narcissist, you have learned to manipulate too. They have manipulated you. purposefully, and so you have learned to manipulate people. And some of the biggest ways, especially like with empath, is to manipulate emotionally. Why won't you reach out? Why won't you talk to me? I'm hurting so bad. And so, but if it was another empath, empaths tend to take upon people's feelings, their emotions, and they will feel bad. And what ends up happening is you can lose a lot of business by reacting and responding off of your emotions. And so some of you have learned to manipulate through emotions to get your needs met, or to get, instead of just asking a question, your mind is already set that you're going to be manipulated, you're going to be made to feel crazy. And so this is the way that you get your needs met. You manipulate emotionally, even to a point where a lot of times people will, that come out of especially narcissistic relationship, the narcissist mirrors you. But what you'll end up doing is you'll find people that you value, or people, excuse me, people that you value, or people that you look up to, or, coaches, or people that do videos like this. And what you'll do is mirror them. What you'll do is put yourself on the level of them, and you will adopt their language. You will adopt the way that they speak. You will adopt in order to feel some type of relevance, to feel some type of importance. Even go back and look at some of the comments that people are making on your comments when you make comments. Some people put themselves at the level of the person that's talking. When you come onto these videos. Now, there's a difference between supporting each other and hey, I've been through that too, and but then when you get to the point where people are giving you advice, they're putting themselves at the same level at the person. Now, there's a difference for those people that are making comments that are in the medical profession, that are in the healing profession, that are in the therapeutic, doctors, and, those people that are giving you information based off of their experience, meaning their educational experience, clientele experience, so there's a difference speaking about, your level, just like with a narcissist. Remember, the narcissist, will make themselves seem like they have these credentials that they don't. They never went to school for this. They, they're, now don't, I am not disrespecting anybody's profession, but they may be a sanitation worker, or, or they may be a garbage man. But by the time you talk to them, you'll swear they went to medical school, or you swear that they're a psychologist, because they have to get the attention. They have to make themselves look relevant, and the information that they give you, they have to make you feel as if they have information. Well, empaths, or people that have, people that have come out of the relationship, especially empaths, come out of a relationship with a narcissist, you tend to mirror the people that you admire too, because you've learned that from the narcissist. So you'll put yourself on the same level as the person that is providing information, or to make yourself feel relevant, you'll present yourself as being equal to the person that's providing information. Or when you're giving information to other people, you'll put yourself, and sometimes the things that you say, the embarrassing part is when they will come back and correct you. And excuse me. And so lipstick was everywhere. I'm sorry. And so I went to Thought Catalog. Sometimes I go to Thought Catalog and there's some good information. Sometimes I take out good information. Now, in Thought Catalog, this article was written by Nikita Moore. Now, and it says the unedited truth about why empaths and narcissists can actually be good for each other. I disagree with that. I am not a supporter of that. I'm teaching people how to get away from narcissists. I'm teaching people that narcissists will never ever change. I'm teaching people that a narcissist does not have good in mind. They never have good in mind. And what she's teaching is that, both the narcissist and the empath have to learn to respect each other and learn to flow. We have to take a moment. Do not subscribe to channels or go and join people's blog that is teaching you how to become one, or to learn to live with a narcissist and appreciate them and learn to understand them. They don't care. Their whole thing is them, me. And they will get fuel whatever way they possibly can. You guys came out of these relationships injured. Why would you go back into a relationship and learn? You didn't learn anything when you were with that person, except for the fact that you've been hurt and you've injured. So I do not agree with this, but she did say a few things on here that I agreed with, that I wanted to share, but I do not agree with this. So if you go to Thought Catalog, just so I can cite the information, Thought Catalog is the unedited truth about why empaths and narcissists can actually be good for each other. Anyway, by Miss Nikita Moore, but she did give some information that was pretty good. So what is an empath and what is a narcissist? So she gave some basic information that was pretty good. So empath put others' needs before their own and are motivated by intrinsic need to help and heal humanity. Narcissists put their needs first and are motivated by their own self-interest and ego-driven desires. Why empath and narcissists are two sides of the same coin? Well, the yin and the yang, or, they're very opposite from each other. That is true. And so their common is high emotional intelligence. Narcissists are high in intellectual or cognitive empathy. They recognize and perceive how other person thinks and feels. And empaths are high in emotional or affective. Affective is emotional empathy. They emotionally respond to how another person feels and thinks. So to help you understand that, let me go to this. And this is Daniel Goleman. This is 3 kinds of empathy: emotional, cognitive, emotional, compassion. So let me explain the different types of empathy. So you have cognitive empathy, and this is simply knowing how the other person feels and what they might be thinking, sometimes called perspective taking. This kind of empathy can help in, say, a negotiation or in motivating people. Keyword: motivating people. Motivating or controlling people. And so the dark side of this sort of empathy is the fact that you have the dark triad, which he said the narcissist, the Machiavellians, and the sociopaths. Okay? And they can be talented in this regard while having no sympathy or empathy, period, whatsoever for their victims. And so they will, a torturer needs this ability if only to better calibrate his cruelty or her cruelty. And so cognitive empathy is the awareness of how other people feel and think. A narcissist is aware, has cognitive empathy, so they are aware, not the lower to mid-grade narcissists. The mid-grades begin to learn and understand, but the greater understands. But they, the lower, they're still experimenting, but they like the way it feels. And as they grow up into the mid, some of them never grow up into the mid-range, but as they grow up, they begin to understand cognitive empathy. They understand how people think and how people feel. And so they will use that to their advantage to manipulate. An empath, on the other hand, they understand that, because then there's another one called, where's it at? Emotional empathy. When you feel physically along with another person as though their emotions are contagious. So an empath has a problem with separating themselves from another person. And so they take upon people's feelings and emotions. They feel their pain. They feel their hurt. They take this upon, but they can't separate the two, because in their mind, to love another person and, is to help that other person. You enmesh, they become enmeshed with another person's emotions. That's what makes it so easy for a narcissist to target them, because they know this. They become enmeshed, but a narcissist will take advantage of that empath and that purity of that empathetic, that emotional empathy. The compassionate empathy is empathetic concern. This kind of empathy, we not only understand a person's predicament and feel with them, but are spontaneously moved to help if needed. Okay, now that you guys have that, let's go back and let's see. Both the narcissist and empath have a unique ability to understand people's motivations, emotional needs, and inner desires. The intuitive attainment gives them the power to know where a person's vulnerabilities and insecurities lie. So both the empath and the narcissist both understand the vulnerability of the people that they're dealing with. However, for an empath will use the vulnerability in order to help that person. A narcissist will use that vulnerability to gain fuel, to abuse, to trauma bond. To cause them to focus on them as almost as if they're the savior. So what differentiates the empath from the narcissist is that while the empath uses this information to try to help people, the narcissists use this knowledge for their personal gain. Empaths sometimes take upon other people's problems to find solutions. Narcissists manipulate and emotionally abuse people to further their own interests. She had a point. So later on, she goes into why they need each other. I'm not even going to read that. I'm not even going to read that. So anyway, So as I was saying previously, understand that a lot of times when and that's why recovery is so important. That's why it's so important to get into counseling, to get a good life coach, to get a good therapist, because there's a lot of debris. There's a lot of fallout. There's a lot of, when anytime, let's say, for example, when you're having a tooth repaired. When you're having a tooth repaired, they do a lot of rinsing and cleaning because there's a lot of debris and chips. I was going to say wood chips. Hopefully you don't have no wooden teeth. But there's a lot of chips and a lot of debris from that tooth. So they know that they have to clean it, make sure they keep it clean, keep it sterile, so that when they close everything up and they put the filling or the crown on top of it, that debris is not in your gums, or it can become infected, right? So when you come out of a relationship with a narcissist, there's a lot of debris, there's a lot of carnage, there's a lot of a lot that needs to be cleaned out. There are things that you don't even realize that are there. That's why I encourage people not to jump into relationships right away, because there's a lot of debris and a lot of I'm trying to think of the word, a lot of debris and I was gonna say garbage, but there's a lot of debris and fallout. That's what it is, debris and fallout that has been left, that residue that's been left. And some things you don't realize until someone brings it to your attention. And so a lot of times, what people do, especially in, that have come out of these narcissistic relationships, some of you guys actually have told me you love me. Now, there's a difference between telling me you love me because you love what I do, but some of you actually begin to have feelings for me because of the fact that you are on here and I'm doing something to help you. But that's your empath, your spider senses, your empath senses. You don't love me because you don't know me. You love what I do, and you love the way that you're feeling as I'm doing what I'm doing. But you have to watch that you don't blur those lines. Some of you, want to pay me to talk to you. When I say pay me, I don't mean pay me for services. You're trying to render favors, to get my attention, to get me to talk to you, but you have to think about where that comes from. There are some of you that over-compliment me. When you over-compliment me, I kind of watch you. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. When you over-compliment me, and there's nothing wrong with, showing your appreciation for something that someone is doing for you to help you. I don't have a problem with that, but you guys have to be careful because I'm teaching you this as well. But when a person like over-compliments you, that's a red flag. Pay attention to that. And sometimes you don't realize what you're doing because you came out of a relationship like that. You had to get your needs met in any way possible to get your needs met, your emotional needs met, sometimes your financial needs met, your sexual needs met. You had to learn to manipulate and use emotions to get what you need. So you come out of these relationships, and even it's not that you purposely do it and you know what you're doing, but you do it out of habit, because this is the residue of the relationship. This is the residue of what you came out of. That's why I highly recommend you guys go into counseling, because there are some things that and I'm not saying all of you, but there are some things that you don't even recognize. When I was in the military, we did a training. It was the equal opportunity training. And the instructor said, he had us draw a box. And he said, there are things that you know about yourself that other people know about you. He said, there are things that you know about yourself that no one knows about you. And there are things that other people know about you that you don't know about yourself, that you don't realize about yourself. And sometimes what happens is when people bring up that part of you that you don't know, or that part of you that's ugly, a lot of times people will fight you and they get angry with you because that's not true. I don't know where you got that from. They become very, very defensive. There are some people, though, that are like, wow, is that really what you see? Is that what you see? Because sometimes people see things about you that you don't see about yourself. And that's why a lot of you need coaches, you need counselors to point out certain things and certain behaviors you do not recognize your own self. And you do it out of habit because you have been trained to do that dealing with narcissists. You have learned to get your needs met by manipulating, because that is what they have done. So you begin to mirror other people. You mirror the coaches, you mirror educators, you mirror, because you want to feel some sense. They have made you feel the lowest of lowest. They have made you feel invaluable. They have made you feel worthless. They have made, these are all the feelings they have projected on you and you took upon. And so to make yourself feel, is not that you're narcissistic, but what happened is You just want to feel valued. You just want to feel loved. You just want to feel appreciated. You just want somebody to affirm you. And so you'll do anything that you possibly can do to get those needs met because you have been so deprived, like you've been starved to death dealing with a narcissist. So hopefully this has helped you guys and given you some knowledge on some of the things that you don't even recognize in yourself, and so thank you guys so much for subscribing. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so you know whenever I upload new videos, Tuesday through Fridays. On Sundays I come on live between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, so that's West Coast time. I know some of you guys are different hours ahead from different countries. Please do know that this Sunday I will not be able to come live, probably will not be able to come live because I'm traveling. Friday through Sunday I am traveling. I will post a video on Friday before I get on the road, but I will be traveling. I will be at a retreat, and they do not on that day I won't be at the retreat on Sunday, but I will be back and forth to travel to the location. But I probably will not be able to come on live. I may pre-record just to start your week off, just to let you guys know I'm thinking about you. And so you can also go to my Facebook page. It is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. I post the videos on both. When I go live on both. Unless I'm traveling, I can only go live on YouTube. Well, I usually choose to go live on YouTube as opposed to Facebook because sometimes I don't have reception with both of my telephones. And so thank you guys so much for your support. That's country support. But thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for letting me know that, that you're able to smile. In the healing process, people shouldn't be so stoic and so emotionless. When you're dealing with trauma, sometimes you need to interject, a smile, a laugh, a joke. It's a serious situation. You have dealt with a lot of trauma. At least let me be able to put a smile on your face and make you laugh or something. Because I told you guys I'll make my own self laugh. I don't care whether you laugh or not. You see, I laugh on camera at my own self, and there's no one in the office but me and my fish. And so, but thank you guys so much for your support. You guys make this happen for me, and I'm always excited to come on and record something for you guys that lets me know that it helps. All videos may not help you, but something in one of the videos may strike you. And remember that a narcissist has groomed you and have put this toxic venom inside of your body. Well, what I hope to do is be the anti-venom and to go back in and flush it out. Flush out that negative and toxic venom that they bit you and they bit and inserted this or put this venom inside of you. So my hopes is that I can go back and I can reverse the effects by making sure that I make these videos. And the more you take these, taking these videos, plus other, other coaches that are on the YouTube channels, take this. It's like medicine. You take that penicillin and you keep taking that. But even when you start feeling better, take this penicillin until you feel strength again. Okay, so you feel the strength again, because some of you, I know, because you're telling me that you're gaining your strength again. You have worth, you have value. You have to know who you are. You have to understand your strength. So this can never happen again. You have to heal first, okay? You have to heal. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And you guys go and be great.